Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us again this week for story time. Today's story time is about a child who really, really likes rocks. Do any of you really like rocks? I think most of us at some time in our life have probably found a rock that just caught our eye and we couldn't resist taking it home with us. I'll show you some of mine that I have in a little bin on my desk. So sometimes there's just something about a rock. It might be the texture you like. This is a really smooth rock. Sometimes they call these rubbing stones, and it can help reduce stress if you find a nice smooth rock that you enjoy rubbing. Sometimes there might be a certain pattern on the rock. I found this one that has these concentric or rings, circles on it, that I thought was really cool. Sometimes they might be a little sparkly, right, or glittery. Found this geode that I kept, and it actually is kind of cool because it's also an agate. You can see, maybe you can't see in the camera, the stripes on it, but those will be in our book today. Sometimes it might just be a really weird shape, right? Look at this weird rock with its different layers. Or sometimes there might be just something about it that just catches your eye, and draws you to it. I thought this one looked like a dragon egg, so I kept this one and I keep it on my desk while I work. But lots of us probably have a rock collection at home, maybe one or two, or maybe you have like 20 rocks. Maybe mom or dad or grandma or grandpa finds rocks in your pockets all the time. I've heard some horror stories about rocks going through the washing machine, which isn't good for your washers. But rocks are pretty fascinating to a lot of us. So today we're going to read a story, and this story takes place in Minnesota, up on the North Shore near the big Lake Superior. And this child is on a camping trip and she finds lots of cool rocks. So think about that for a second. What might be a problem if you're collecting rocks on a camping trip? Hmm, let's find out. So today's book is called Rhoda's Rock Hunt. This is another Minnesota author, so I love books that are written by local authors that are about nature in our region. It was illustrated by Jennifer A. Bell. So author was Molly Beth Griffin, and the illustrations by Jennifer A. Bell. You can see on the cover here some of the very cool rocks that might be in this book. I think this one kind of looks like maybe a top hat. What do you think this one looks like? I think it looks like a fish. Rhoda's Rock Hunt. All right. When Rhoda's Auntie June and Uncle Jonah took her on a long hike from their up north cabin, her shower was a bucket of cold lake water. Any of you ever had a shower like that? Her dinner was salami and cheese, and her bed was a skinny little pad with a ratty sleeping bag. But she didn't mind. This is one of my favorite things to do, is to go camping. Because of the rocks. Rhoda loved rocks. Smooth rocks and bumpy rocks and sparkly rocks and stripy rocks and rocks shaped like hearts and hats and horns. All right, Auntie June said, but you have to carry them in your pack. What do you think's going to happen? They were moving camp every day and had to carry everything in big, heavy, bulky packs. Rhoda's pack was smaller, but she was in charge of hauling it through the woods and over the streams and to the big lake, all by herself. Have any of you ever been on a camping trip where you had to move camp and carry everything in your packs, like your tents and your sleeping bag and all your food? One day, they hiked through a beautiful birch forest with rustling leaves and bird songs overhead. Rhoda found jagged rocks and bumpy rocks in that forest, and one with tiny sparkly bits that glinted in the dappled sunlight. Ooh! Into her pack they all went. Oof! And Rhoda trudged on, wiping sweat off her forehead. Looks like someone needs a bucket shower, Uncle Jonah joked. Rhoda didn't laugh. The next day they crossed a rushing stream, with whispering water all around and dragonflies whizzing past. Rhoda found lots of smooth, round rocks in that stream, and one with a curve that fit into her palm just right. Ooh! Into her pack they went. Oh, yarg! And Rhoda waded on, slumping under the weight, her tummy grumbling. Sounds like you need more salami, Auntie June joked. Rhoda didn't laugh. It sounds like maybe your hike is getting harder the more rocks she collects. That night, Rhoda hardly slept at all. A pine cone poked her through that skinny little pad, and her ratty sleeping bag was damp and stinky. So she was tired and dirty and hungry on the last day of the trip, and crabby too. Do any of you get crabby when you're tired and hungry? I know I do. Until they arrived at the big lake. Waves crashed on the shore and gulls called overhead. The water stretched out to the horizon, and the beach was covered with millions and billions of rocks. Have any of you ever been up to Lake Superior? It looks like the ocean, it's so big. Rhoda ran her hands over all of those sun-warmed treasures. She found red ones and blue ones and stripy ones, and then she looked harder and found tiny banded ones that glowed the color of sunsets. Ooh! Into her pack they all went. So those banded ones that glow like the sunset, that's what we call an agate. Time to go, Uncle Jonah called. It's not far now, said Auntie June. At the end of this one last hike, the cabin, a real shower, a hot meal, and a soft bed. Rhoda jumped up and grabbed her pack and hoisted. But nothing happened. She pulled and pushed and panted, oof, oof, yarg. But the pack wouldn't budge. Why not? Rhoda put so many rocks in there she can't even lift her own pack. Help! She cried, but her auntie's arms were full and her uncle was all loaded up. This pack was Rhoda's to carry, and it was full of rocks. She couldn't leave her treasures. She tried loading up her pockets, but the weight made her short sag, and she couldn't hike like that. Has that ever happened to any of you? That's totally happened to me. She thought about staying on that beach forever, but Auntie June and Uncle Jonah were waiting. Besides, Rhoda really needed a shower, and dinner, and bed. She loved her rocks, all her beautiful rocks, but she couldn't keep them all. She had to let some go. This one, what's that shaped like? See the fish one again and the hat one? This one maybe looks like a bottle of potion or something. So she took them out one at a time and stacked them on a table-like slab down by the water. Rhoda worked with the weight of each rock, with the curves and the bumps and the bulges of each rock, until all those forest rocks and river rocks and big lake rocks balanced in perfect towers. Have any of you ever seen one of these rock towers when you were out on a walk? Well, almost all of them. Back into her pockets went the one glinting forest rock and the one palm-snuggling river rock, and a small handful of tiny glowing agates from the big lake. Then she smiled at her rock cairns, the towers of souvenirs she was leaving behind. So lots of times we'll see these out on hiking trails. They call them rock cairns, or these towers of rock. Finally, she slung her pack onto her back and followed Auntie June and Uncle Jonah all the way to their cozy cabin, where a hot shower, a delicious dinner, and a soft, soft bed were waiting just for Rhoda. And a sun-warmed windowsill was waiting just for her very best rocks. Much easier to carry just a few small rocks with you than an entire pack of rocks. It can be hard to choose sometimes, though. See all the rocks she found. So lots of us are getting outside more. Maybe your family has some sort of hiking planned for this summer, or maybe even a camping trip. That's a great time to find rocks, but remember, if you have to carry them, rocks can get pretty heavy. I'm going to post some activities down below with rocks if you want to learn more about rocks. And a couple of things to do with the rock cycle. So our earth actually recycles rocks and makes new rocks from old rocks all the time, which is really, really cool. And I also have some activities where you can paint rocks and make a game with rocks, and lots of great stuff down below. So it's in that Google link I'll post down in the comments. But I hope you guys have a super fun week. Show me what kind of cool rocks you find. You can always post a picture down below, or you can email me pictures. I love seeing your pictures. And I want to see the cool rocks that you find. So I showed you some of my favorites. Now I want to see some of yours. Have an awesome week, everybody. We'll see you next week, Wednesday at 1 p.m. for story time. And stay tuned to our Facebook page. We have a very big announcement coming either later this afternoon if we can get ready, or tomorrow morning. So tune in to find out what we're going to be doing this summer. And we hope you will join us in those summer activities. See you soon.